My name's Zachary Klozik.
I am Zamar Tompkins.
My name is Bryce Ray.
My name is Tyan Simmons, and I'm an MFA student.
And I am a graduate student at Governor State University.
And I am in my second year of grad school at Governor State.
And I'm a semester and a half away from my master's degree in independent filmmaking.
I picked GSU to get my MFA because I already got my undergrad, my bachelor's in media studies here.
For me, GSU just kind of made sense. It's not too far away from home. The commute it's next to nothing.
I chose GSU mainly. Well, I mean, it's very affordable. Because there's not a huge amount of master's film programs in Illinois, and I didn't really want to leave the state for it.
I went to Chicago State for undergrad, so I knew a lot of people who went to Governor State. I remember specifically when I was working at Chicago. Well, I work at Chicago State, but a professor there went to Governor State, and she spoke highly of it. Overall, I feel like it's a good program. I like the professors. I feel like they're knowledgeable. I like the students. I just wish they had a better schedule. Like when I was picking schools and just thinking about grad school, I just automatically assumed, it'd be Saturday classes. It'd be a lot of night classes. But when I saw the selection, it wasn't. It was more so like undergrad. It was more so classes in the afternoon during the week, and that's kind of hard. It worked out for me, but I definitely feel like that's kind of hard for anybody in their graduate level age.
Overall, I think it's a good program. I mean, it's I usually suggest it to people who have an interest in, especially if they're interested in getting a graduate degree in film. I usually say, check this one out because it's this one stands up to the others. So it's you for the price, you're going to get a similar experience to what you might get at another program.
I think the program has been really good thus far. I think once we get more teachers, I think it'll be a better program. I do think one teacher specifically has been a huge help with my cinematography skills. And I think, like I said, once we get more teachers involved, more teachers in the program teaching and teaching well, I think the program can really take off.
I feel like it's a pretty good program. Coming into it, of course, it's not like you go into film school in New York or something like that, or California, or it's not even a Columbia as far as media and stuff goes. But you get out of it what you put into it. So for myself, I want to challenge myself in every class that I get, even if the work is not so much of a challenge. I want to challenge myself, and I want to challenge the people next to me, because I know iron sharpens iron. And if I can say, AJ, make sure you come to class with your best project, because I'm gonna do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And now we both kind of doing our best on our project, and it's we all get better that way. So
I'm Daniel Leering. I'm a filmmaker and professor at Governor State University.
I've only had one class with Professor Neary, but I think just off jump, I think he's just a very passionate person. He's cool to talk to just about filmmaking in general. He always gives good feedback. Although some of it you may not like, or some of it can be kind of harsh, it does make you a better filmmaker and want to be a better filmmaker for sure.
Dan Neary, he's great. I mean, he's part of the reason I even joined the program. For me, what I've always really loved about Dan is that he's truly an artist, and and I always love people who make art to make art, that. And I always greatly respect people that do that when it comes to any art form. So that for me when I've had him as a professor, I've always really enjoyed him. He's good at pushing people, and especially with me, he's always been very much I feel like I never it's a good thing that I feel like at least the energy he usually gives me is I never truly he's always challenging me to an extent. There's always he's you could do something a little better every time, and I like that because it's always pushing me to bring things to another level.
Professor Neary is a cool guy. He sometimes I can say that he is a bit of a character, and I mean that in the best way possible. overall cool guy. He usually has like pretty solid advice, and he'll always give you honest feedback. So I can also say that it's most of the times he's 100% got like the student's best interest at heart. So
Professor Neering, I had him one time when I was a freshman. I took the freshman seminar class. Better sense of him. Something that stood out for me about Professor Neering, I had applied for this school, I want to say 3 years before I got here. That professor who told me about school back then, I was like, okay, I'll apply. So I sent in all of my applications and my work, and then COVID happened. So I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna go to school. And then after COVID, I want to say 2 years after COVID, I reapplied, and he remembered me. And I was like, oh, that made me feel like I was important. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I always remember about Neering. You know what I'm saying? It made me feel like I was a person.
From one year to the next, an amazing challenge. And I've often wondered, you know, GSU is a different kind of school in the sense that most of our students, or many of our students, are older. You're a younger student, but we have many students, you know, Fredrina, Sheldon Jones, for example, who are sort of here looking for a second opportunity to grow as artists. And there's something beautiful about that. When you make a genuine connection with someone and you have faith in them and you support and nurture their development as an artist, it's every bit as rewarding to do that as it is to create art. What I look for when I'm teaching students, every room is different, every class is different. You'll find some students who are not particularly dedicated for whatever reason. You'll find some students who are incredibly dedicated and ahead of the game. And you need to somehow work across that span, that spectrum of students, and try to engage everybody and try to, you know, elevate the experience.
Yeah, so my name is Ryan Park, and I'm an assistant professor in the IFDI program at GSU.
Ryan Park is, I mean, I've had a very close relationship with him at this program because he's, you know, kind of my direct boss. In my opinion, he's only been here for a little over a year now. And he's been a fantastic addition to this program. I think his experience in sort of the professional world and the commercial world translates extremely well. It's like something that we kind of needed, I feel like, because Dan brings the very artistic side, the artistic independent side. Ryan brings more of the professional side. And it meshes together into this, we now have like both. And I think Ryan, just like Dan, I mean, they're both pushes people. Again, he's not afraid to critique your work.
Professor Parks is super cool, super laid back dude, and he does a good job of making everybody feel seen and heard. He gives really great critiques as it relates to film and even like outside of film. He gives great advice too.
Governor State is very lucky to have somebody like Professor Park. Is someone like him that has like as much experience as he has, and just an overall talented individual. And he's got a great eye for like film and like creativity, and he's always challenging his students to be like better. So. Those are like the type of teachers that you want to have. Also, too, he does a lot of like independent work where he's trying to like bring his students in to like work with him. So that's always like really cool. And it as a student, it makes you really feel like you got a foot in the door. Like I said, we're really lucky to have somebody like Ryan.
Park, I've had him every semester. He's a great professor. He is knowledgeable. He shares a lot of his experience. He has experience, and that's something that I value. He pushes, not necessarily push, but he questions them. So it's like you can go in with your project and you can think it's the best you can be or it's the best that you could do, and he'll just ask questions like, oh, why'd you do it like this? Or could you have done it like that? And I like professors like that because even when I'm done with something, it makes me feel like I'm not quite done with it. In something like art, I feel like there is no real done, where it's just a conclusion. Like art can continue to change, so I can do my work, handing it in, and then he can tell me something, and I can go back and, you know, implement what he told me to changed?
Oh, my experience has been fantastic. I mean, I came here without really knowing much about the program, but as soon as I got here, or as soon as I met with Dan, it was the program that I was actually looking for. It's small enough to get to know everybody and work with everybody, very closely, and also there is room to grow. And I came here right after the pandemic, so I've been just working on trying to rebuild the program in terms of the production courses, and also in terms of how people use the Media Lab and things like that. And yeah, like people here are just fantastic. They're just really fun to work with. We have some more experienced filmmakers, and we have some beginners. So I just really love collaborating with everybody, and yeah, it's just been amazing so far. Well, I have like a lot of different goals as an educator, but I guess one of the main goals that I try to accomplish, because I love making films and I love watching films and I just love films, and I want them to kind of love what I love to do as well. It's a fun process. It's not like studying math. It's not like studying science. You have to like it first to continue doing it. Because sometimes people don't like math, but then they, still do it. But then, when it comes to filmmaking, if you don't like it, there's really no next steps, right? So just having fun, making what they're working on, and also just be better with their techniques, right? Because sometimes they come in here as a writer and then they don't care so much about the cameras and lightings and things like that. But then once they know a little bit better of those aspects, it's so much better. So I guess that's my goal.
Yeah, it's definitely worth being involved in this. It was a good thing for me because I had a lot of options when I finished my undergraduate degree as to what I wanted to do with my life. There was a lot of basically, like, I could have done. I had thought about going into marketing and like corporate jobs, and I loved art so much, and then like trying to be in that world, the sort of corporate world, it was so devoid of all of that. And I'm really glad that at one point I had the idea to try graduate school, just because I wanted to really see if filmmaking was for me. And if I wouldn't have done it, I don't know. I have no idea what I'd be doing, but I don't think I'd be as like happy and satisfied with myself as who I am if I had not done this. So this was a very good decision in my opinion. Very glad I entered this program.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Obviously, there are moments where I wish it was better, but that's not because of the school or of the program, but that's more because it's like because of me, or because of like the experiences that I bring. And I'm still like early in my career, and I just wish that I had like more experience so that I could teach more and like answer better to the questions that I have. Yeah, I think that was one of the best choices that I made, and I think it was so much worth it. I think there's so much I need to do here as an educator, as a professor, also as a filmmaker. But yeah, I think it was such a wonderful experience so far, and I'm just so excited about what has yet to come.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think it was worth coming here. I think I've learned a lot and grown so much just being in the program. And I feel like it's what you make it, like it's not the biggest program, it's not the most prestigious program, but just meeting the people, working with the people, I think that's what separates Governor State's program from the rest.
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth it. The classmates make it worth it. The professors make it worth it. I feel like this is a great institution. I feel like obviously it's things that they can improve on that's probably not in their control, because what I'm learning about colleges and this program in itself is, I feel like it's a really good program. I like what it's doing with the film festival. It's giving students a taste of that. That's not something that happens everywhere else, at least to my knowledge. So Yeah, I definitely felt like coming to Governor State was worth it.
I just got a little kind of goosebumps going up the side of my face when you asked that question. No doubt, Elijah, it's been a great honor to work at this school. But it's so much more. I'm infinitely more happy and was able to do infinitely more than I could have in any other academic context, in my opinion. Like teaching at Harvard or USC or what have you, I feel certain that there's something about being in this particular context that really brings out the best in me creatively, and I hope to try to draw that out from students as well.
Again, I will say it's all about challenging yourself in all of those situations. Like, so whether you have like a class where it's you're supposed to learn to be a better writer, like I say for myself, I'm not a writer, so a class like that where I challenge myself and become a writer, and vice versa for any other class. If you're challenging yourself, I would definitely say that it is worth it to come here. I don't feel like I wasted my time. I feel like I grew exponentially since coming to get my master's degree here. So.